What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs. I am your host, Chris Raybon. It is NFL Week 3. I am here with the most accurate ranker in the game, the odds maker, Sean Kerner. And Sean, we were just talking off air about some very in-the-weeds projection stuff, but I think it actually is a good question. So I'm going to ask you to start the pod.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a 2-week sample size? Because I love one because, after going into week 2, you finally have data. I know you always talk about that as well. And then I like, having 3 or more, that starts to stabilize. But 2 is kind of very tricky because, one, you could have a 50% outlier type of situation. So how do you kind of go about week 3 projections with your process?
Yeah, just the more weeks we get, the more comfortable you are in our projections. So just having 1 week was massive. I loathe projecting week 1. I mean, I love week 1 because it's week 1, football's back, but it's so tricky to project because what are we going off of? But after the first week, we have 1 week of data. But then as we saw, we got some things right, we got some things wrong. Week 2 helps, clarify some of the things I was willing to pivot. I love having 2 weeks of data. You get to kind of notice trends, see something go a different direction. But more importantly, Raybon, everybody's in the dark. Everybody's going to be over or underreacting to 2 weeks of data. But I think the fact that we do look at underlying data like routes run rate, target rate, things like that give us an edge because they're under the surface level. They're under, the box score data. So I think we're still going to be more equipped than not to kind of identify the true breakouts or the fluky performances and things like that. So even though it's a very, very small sample size, 2 weeks, it's enough to pick up on trends to at least beat the market in. So heading into week 3, love the fact that we have, 1 more additional week of data to go off of.
Yeah, it's interesting because I hate, this is my least favorite.
Oh, really?
I love it for the challenge, but I just don't like the psychological and data kind of challenges that 2 weeks, because it's again, you could have one whole entire outlier in a 2-week sample, whereas week 1 is all right, now we just have stuff where we didn't before. 3 is okay, now what happened 2 out of 3 it's a trend, whatever. But this 2 week, it's 50-50, especially is it just noise? Is it a trend? Is it there's a lot going on. So I loathe it, but it's a challenge and it's fun. And what is also fun? Going to fantasylabs.com, getting our very accurate, highly accurate in-season rankings. Both of us have finished top 5 numerous times. Sean has a bunch of trophies for number 1 accuracy finishes at Fantasy Pros. So if you go to Fantasy Labs NFL, you can get all those rankings, projections, waiver wire tips. We've also added a survivor pool tool to help you make informed picks using our weekly betting projections. So be sure to use code FLEX20 for 20 off at fantasylabs.com/Blex. We'll get into our top 5 at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, guys we're high and low on, and some props. Sean, by good stuff last week. You went a cool 2-0. I went 0-2. So you're opening up a little bit of a lead there.
How about that Javonte rushing prop?
Oh,
Mr.
man.
3.6.
No, he's good.
What was it, 4.4?
He's good now.
He's good
yeah, he
now,
kind
exactly.
of slowed down. He was over 5 for a while, and I was what's coming? But, I was it was a bittersweet thing because I had the Giants. I got them. I think it was, I forget, +6 or plus something like that. So I was just don't do anything stupid with the, don't score a touchdown. So I was kind of happy when they lost with that field goal. But at the same time, I was Jesus, guys, we should have won this game. But Cardio King, that is the player who runs the most routes without a target each and every week. Who are our winners last week? It was Yosavash and Higbee, right? I think those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yosavash
right.
and Higbee.
This week we got some guys that I less surprising than Yosavash.
Yeah.
Higbee, I will say. Take it away. Who we got at our Cardio King overall, and then our guy at wide receiver.
So the Cardio King overall and at tight end, actually isn't too surprising. I think we even hinted at this, but it was Tanner Connor of the Dolphins with 21 routes, no targets. Julian Hill was the same, right? I think Julian Hill had double-digit routes run and 0 targets. I think we thought it might be one of the Dolphins tight ends. It was Tanner Connor. He actually led the entire league in routes run without a target, 21. It was kind of weird. You were mentioning, typically we do see a receiver with 20-plus routes and no targets. Didn't happen last week, but our cardio king at wide receiver was Zay Jones with 16 routes run, 0 targets. So kind of a low week for the cardio king, but Zay Jones won it. Not too surprising there, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, this guy, I think he had like 8 catches all year last year. The Cardinals are very weird with their, I guess it's because they're like a 3 tight end team, so the reads are set up that way. But yeah, he's a good bet each and every week. Who would you say is Zay Jones the favorite for week 3, or who'd you go for at wide receiver?
Zay Jones isn't running enough routes to be like the favorite in this, and I think by week 5 or 6 I'll have a sim set up to actually come up with odds with this. But just quickly looking at, I have everybody's routes run total and targets. The guys I identified that might be like favorites would be Darius Slayton, who's running a ton of routes and a very low target rate. I think he's probably running too many routes to be like the favorite, but I'm going to nominate him this week. And Cole Kmet, running a ton of routes, low target rate. I think he might actually be the favorite in this market for tight end. But like we were saying, like by week 5 or 6, I might have 10 minutes to spare to set up a sim for this, but it'd be kind of fun to have odds and have us like draft Cardio King, because it's we're joking about it, but it's useful information. It's kind of showing how we kind of build our projections and stuff like that. But we'd love to be able to bet on these things week to week.
Yeah, because you kind of want a team to have at least one of these guys.
True.
Just because that kind of makes things more stable for the top 1 at least, but usually the top 2 guys. So, like Wan'Dale Robinson, I think is great because you have Slayton as a cardio king on the G-Man, and then it's just the tight end in the back. So, those situations can really work out. I would probably throw Kate Otton's name in the mix and Higbee.
Isn't the award named after him?
Right, yeah, pretty much. Who's the guy in the Chargers back? Quentin Patton, was it, or something like that? I think he was like a guy who just, this was like maybe like a decade ago, but he was one of the first guys I remember that would just.
I thought DeMarcus Robinson on the Chiefs would originally kind of call him out. What the hell? He's just running wind sprints out there. He was like the OG guy. Not anymore, but he was the cardio king for sure on the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Xavier Leggett pretty soon at this rate. the way he's playing. Yeah. All right, quarterback. Why did I say that like Wiz Khalifa Taylor gang? I don't know. But, I was just listening to that song maybe. But quarterback, top 5, week 3. Who you got?
Looks like the same old boring stuff. I have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. Oh, and Caleb Williams, baby, QB5.
Yeah, he's right there for me too. He's actually my QB6. I was going to mention him, but that just depends on if Jaden Daniels plays or not. But yeah, I got Jackson, Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Daniels 5, Caleb 6. So right there with you, man. Great potential shootout as long as the weather cooperates. I know our guy Dr. Nick is on the under in that one. But, yeah. So that's true of pretty much every game. But who you high on this week at QB?
It seems like we keep flip-flopping guys between shows, but I'm going to go Daniel Jones here. He's my QB9 against the Titans. Just continues to crush as the Colts starting quarterback. It looks like his nickname changed from Danny Dimes to Indiana Jones. I kind of like it. I kind of like the rebrand because, once again, he was QB7 last week, and I'm not too surprised. As soon as he was announced as the starting quarterback, I was super high on him because he's flashed QB1 upside in the past, just given his rushing upside. This offense was built, kind of around Anthony Richardson's rushing ability. So great, landing spot for him. And then this is the best supporting cast he's ever had in terms of pass catchers. He's been solid out of the gate. He now has 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. Probably not going to sustain that. But he's only rushed for 26 and then 2 yards last week. I think we are going to see more rushing yards overall going forward from him. So I think he's going to still stabilize as, like a low-end QB1 option as long as he is the starter. And I don't think he's going to be losing that job anytime soon. So very impressed with what I'm seeing with him. And he's opening everything up for the Colts pass catchers themselves. So just very, very positive vibes with the Colts right now.
Yeah, you definitely just have to pick him up, use him every week. The only thing I could see happening is him getting hurt, because he does still take some big hits, because he is running more than maybe I think I expected, like around the goal line, which is where you get hit a lot. So that's the one thing with him. We have seen him miss time. Definitely want to maximize Indiana Jones. And speaking of maximize, Caleb Williams, man, he doesn't look right, but it actually helps his fantasy prospects, because I don't think he trusts his own arm sometimes. And what happens is he'll use his legs and then get himself and the team into such bad situations that he essentially has to keep throwing. And he does have pretty good receivers, pretty good scheme and whatnot. I think he's kind of the issue. But we know he has the talent. Maybe it just takes time. Maybe he needs another offseason. Who knows? Because I just feel like he's in his head. But you mentioned him. He's a top 10 quarterback for me as well. This week's my QB6. And, ECR has him at QB9. So I guess we're both, 3-4 spots high on him. But this Dallas Bear game, the Bears gave up 50-plus last week. And the Cowboys had the announcers talking about Russell Wilson setting career highs and looking like he was in his Super Bowl prime. Thank you for the sacrificial Russell Wilson passing.
I had to do
the yardage or something. Yeah. It made sense, because I had Dart getting a couple of snaps too. So anytime you think a guy's gonna get benched, but man, that Cowboys defense, no Micah, banged up on the back end. Even Caleb might be able to get something going here through the air. And it could just be a shootout. The spread is about 1.5 in favor of the Chicago Bears. So every ingredient we want, unless there's bad weather. So do keep an eye on that. But right now, really, really like Caleb this week.
Yeah, I wrote him up last week, just super high on him. But the media circus around him and, off to a horrible start, that doesn't matter for fantasy. The disaster, the chaos is what helps give us fantasy points. Especially, I don't think people realize just how much rushing upside he has. In week 1, 2 of his runs, he went over 20 miles per hour. Last year, Jaden Daniels led the league with 3 total runs that went 20 plus miles per hour. Like, Caleb could move, and you could see him all the time escape pressure, avoid a sack, and then try to force it downfield by the sideline, just like Josh Allen. And he finally did start to connect on some of those. It's pure chaos, but he's only going to get better, and these still lead to fantasy points, whether you like how he gets there or not. So again, he finally inside my top 5. We'll see how long that sticks, but very impressed with what I saw, ignoring all the bad plays, of course.
Oh yeah, those are just going to be there for him. He might end up settling in as your favorite bad quarterback, kind of like a Jameis or he might not seriously. Every week, every snap I watch more and more, because he's one of the first guys I watch every week. I just haven't seen it yet, and I just wonder if it's a little bit more. It's there are physical things, but it's more just accuracy. But I think he's just in his head a little bit. And
for sure.
A lot of upside. The Bears haven't really unleashed Loveland or Luther Burden yet. So Caleb could continue to trend up in this new offense. Who are you low on for week 3?
I'm low on Matthew Stafford. He's my QB 30 to open the week. And last week he finished with 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he finishes the QB 19. He offers 0 rushing upside, and I mean 0. He is the Mall Santa right now, and much tougher matchup this week against the Eagles. So when you have a quarterback that just doesn't offer rushing upside, he's much more matchup dependent, doesn't offer that, rushing floor. And ECR has him QB 23 to open the week. I think that's going to come down as people wake up, as they make their week 3 projections. So yeah, he's all the way down to QB 30 for me. He's a tougher start, honestly, in 2 QB superflex formats. You have those guys like Browning available, Wentz available now. Like, I would start them over Stafford this week, just given the matchup.
Yeah, it's really, you got to kind of pick your spots with him, and it's even when he hits his ceiling, it's usually negated by the lack of. I mean, we talked about it. Spencer Rattler's like middle of the pack every week, just running a little, throwing a little. But I'm low on, and I love this guy as a passer, but I'm low on Jordan Love this week. He is ECR QB 13. Now he's on the road against the Browns. First road game of the season for Love. I think the Browns are a little bit underrated on defense. And I think with Love, you just worry about game script because the Packers defense is now so good and Love is going to take his shots down the field. But, if he hits them, great. If he doesn't, they might not need him to pass for more than $180 a lot of weeks with how good their entire roster is. You just lost Jaden Reed. So Love is just going to kind of be a volatile passer. I think he's a great kind of DFS play, but this is a game where the Packers are, favored by more than a touchdown yet again, probably be a common trend. The Browns could be the worst team in the league. We'll see how that goes. But and then you have Myles Garrett just kind of looming, we saw it with Joe Burrow, can just kind of wreck the offense's day. So still too many risks for me to pick him over, a guy like Daniel Jones as a fringe QB1 if I need a guy in a pinch. So Love got a Packers Super Bowl ticket before the Parsons trade. Feeling good about that now, but that's not always great, especially because he doesn't really run a lot either. He can, but he doesn't. He usually doesn't have to. Just hand it to Jacobs. Anytime touchdown, Josh Jacobs every week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Is just the good defense kind of limits his upside, especially when he doesn't offer any rushing upside himself.
All right, where are we going for the QB prop? You hit the under on Mayfield 229.5 last week, so you're setting at QB this week.
All right, let's go with you always do a good job with quarterback rushing projections, so kind of want to dive in on somebody that we've already talked about numerous times already, but it's Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, over under 26.5 rushing yards. I'm going to go 26.5 rushing yards, over, under, and kind of what are you seeing in terms of, projecting him for week 3?
I'm seeing Jonathan Taylor looking like a monster out there, but let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, this coach team is starting to be a little scary. Okay, let's see. DJ. So, yeah, let me see what I got his design runs at. Because, I break it down into design runs, non-kneel down design runs, and then scrambles, which are a function of, the design pass projection. So he's getting he's at about 11% of the non-kneel down design carries, which is actually a little bit lower than my preseason prior for him. So against the Titans, let's see, where do I have his projection at? I have it at, what did you say? What was the line?
26.5.
I'm going to go under. I have it at 23, so good line. But a couple of things, like I said, he's not getting a crazy amount of the design runs. It's just that he's getting them near the goal line. So he's getting them at the right time, and sometimes you have to do like 2 or 3 of those tush pushes in a row to get in, which kind of inflates it even more. And I think the Titans are going to leave receivers open. Like I think he's going to have some open receivers in the spot. So I'm not expecting like an above expectation scramble rate either for Jones. So yeah, that leaves me just with, kind of hoping for like he gets stuffed and they go right back to it again, which is tough. So yeah, I'm gonna go under that one. But that's a really good line. And I mean, who do you like in this game? Is this where Cam Ward gets his first road game for the Colts? Because like the kneel downs come into play here. Only 3-point favorites.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'll have 25, and then he'll kneel it down twice to get 23. But yeah, that's a good call. I haven't looked at it at that level, but yeah, I think the Titans would be a team I'd be willing to buy in right now, especially just the Colts. The market perception for them might be at its peak right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the Titans are still figuring it out. They figured out real quick Io Manor should be starting over Van Jefferson, and now they're already convinced that DK should be in over Lockett. So they're still sorting out their personnel and things like that. So they're just going to get better and better, and I think Ward's is going to get better and better. So yeah, this spot, getting plus 3.5 at home, I would not be shocked if that's where the sharp money is in the cover. But yeah, I thought you were going to be over on Daniel Jones. I would have probably said it like 24.5 if I'm being honest, but just because we can't bank on him. He scored 3 rushing touchdowns so far. Like I said, we can't bank on that. We need a higher rushing yard floor from him to really, maintain like a top 10 status. So that's just one of the things that I've been kind of looking at his projection and noticed, the design run rate has been up around the goal line, but not outside of that. So just an interesting projection right now for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and that's why he's not like, I guess, like a smash in ECR as like, the QB 8. Like sometimes you see these guys are when they pop, because there is a little bit of a volatility factor. He could just throw a couple bombs to Alec Pierce, who goes down at like the 5, and then Taylor gets like 3 touchdowns. Like there's you're right. He's not getting a ton of runs outside the goal line, and then he also got it inflated by, like, I think they ran him like 2-3 straight times on one of those tush pushes, or a couple of those, if I remember correctly. So short yardage backs, you can see that where they get stuffed and they go right back to it. But with the quarterback, it's going to be a lot more important, because quarterbacks are only averaging like 2 to 6 attempts per game, unless you're like Lamar or Hurts. So I think Jones will have to do it a little more through the air. I would love him to get more on the ground though. All right, let's go running back top 5, week number 3. Kind of it's some tough choices there. Who you got in your top 5? Is it McCaffrey number 1, or are you going somewhere else? Bijan.
Oh, no, I got Bijan Robinson number 1, McCaffrey number 2, although Jonathan Taylor was so close to being my RB2. I think you're high on him as well. And then I got Saquon Barkley, and then I have Devon Achane and Bucky Irving tied for number 5.
Ooh, yeah, this is a lot of tough choices. I got McCaffrey, Bijan, Barkley, Taylor, and Josh Jacobs, just because he scores a touchdown every week, and the Packers are so good defensively. But I kind of want to move Jacobs out of the top 5 just because the pass game usage. But I mean, the Packers are big favorites again, so it's tough. But yeah, it's a crowded mix. But I think Taylor is the one. We talked about him in the offseason. This guy is just quietly so good. He's another guy with top speed. I think he had the fastest speed of any ball carrier, or of any ball carrier, since like 2022 or something like that. So he's another guy that just keeps on keeping on, and he plays more snaps than anyone, especially with Kyron trending down. So I wouldn't mind if you had Taylor number 1, honestly.
And I have Jacobs 7th right now. But like, are you worried about just the Browns defense at all? Because they stopped Chase Brown, although that's happened 2 weeks now. But Derrick Henry had 11 carries for 23 yards. So, he might not have an efficient game, but probably, a ton of volume to make up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually trust the Packers just run, like, they've been so consistent running the football this, like, over the past, 20 games that the fact that they're a favorite, he's going to get the ball. So, yeah, but you're right. I do want to move him out. I think it would have to be for, maybe an Achane, just because the Dolphins in that kind of game script against Buffalo, I mean, Achane's got to catch like 10 balls. And, I mean, unless maybe if Waller if the figment of our imagination is actually active, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be Achane from here on out. But some tough choices there. All right, who are you high on at running back?
Tony Pollard. I know you were high on him last week. I'm high on him at least until Tajay Spears returns. Pollard's, one of the true workhorse backs right now. This is his second straight game with like a 90% snap rate. Rarely comes off the field. They've been in some pretty heavy trailing game scripts, and he didn't get a catch last week, so that's kind of a concern. But also means, we're probably going to get more catches from him going forward. He's not going to get shut out as a pass catcher every week. And the fact that they're only 3.5-point dogs, and I was going to already say that they'll probably keep this close, at least closer than the first 2 weeks, definitely helps Pollard a ton. So I think he's just going to see even more volume. He's already out there every snap. I think they're going to actually give him the ball more this week as a result. He's my RB13 to open the week against the Colts. So if you have him, just know that you have like a high-end RB2 now and potentially the rest of the season, but especially until Spears can return to the lineup. So love Pollard this week. Very high floor option. And then I'm high on Jaylen Warren, who's my RB20 to open the week against the Patriots. But, he's still operating as the clear lead back in this offense. He and Gainwell have been inefficient on the ground so far. Great hit on the Gainwell under rushing prop. I think that they can't make that happen. So it's going to lead to more carries, I think, for Warren long term. And he really thrived in the passing game last week, which has kind of been his bread and butter. Had that amazing catch and run for 60 yards, just an amazing play. So I think he's going to earn more playing time going forward. And I said I'd stop picking on him after last week, but I have to say that with, Caleb having that kickoff, disaster, he's even more in the doghouse. So that's just going to lead to more Warren snaps and touches as well. So Warren has a pretty high floor for, the type of back he has been in his career. And I think he's inside my top 20 now and going forward. So I'm high on Warren this week against the Patriots.
Yeah, no, I don't know what they were doing with. They must have miscalculated things because they drafted Johnson and he's just been terrible. Just as a football, it's almost like another Pickens. He's just making boneheaded decisions now. He's already in the dog. At least Pickens started he was producing before he got to that point.
Yeah, he was balling out.
Right. And then it's everyone knows Gainwell had the worst success rate of anyone with 75 carries or more last year. So you don't try to make him into a runner. I just don't know what Pittsburgh. I don't know what they're doing sometimes. Sometimes they look like they know exactly what they're doing. Sometimes they just look clueless. So yeah, that offense, it's got to be Warren. He's the true talent. He's the guy that they gave the contract to. And I think they should keep using him like that. All right, I am high on Jordan Mason.
Hell yeah.
He is ECR RB21. He's right there with Pollard. I think Mason's actually my RB13. So you started seeing him mix in for not just more early down carries, which we kind of expected in Minnesota, but they were using Jones and Mason interchangeably in the pass game. And that's something we really haven't seen too much out of Mason in his career, but I did catch him just throwing a nasty block, which is not great for his receiving prospects. But I think the issue is, sometimes guys don't get out there because you don't trust them to block. So the fact that he, looks like he can block in Minnesota, they need playmakers. And Mason, he breaks tackles. He thoroughly outplayed Aaron Jones before Jones got hurt anyway, in my opinion. I know Jones had the touchdown catch, but Mason passed the eye test. Now he's going to get what I think is going to be true feature workload because Ty Chandler, the number 3 back, went to IR. So Xavier Scott is I guess the number 2 running back. Has he even had a regular season touch? I don't think so.
It's so bizarre. In Fantasy Pros, they have him as like a wide receiver. I think he played wider. I don't know what's going on with him. Did you see the guy they have on the practice squad?
Who?
I was going to have you try to pronounce his name.
Xavier Valde?
Yeah, validate. He might be the guy that ends up being the RB2, which is to say that Jordan Mason might get every single snap this week.
Yeah, I know. I think they like Scott. They like Scott, but they like him in the pass game.
Right.
Xavier Valade is just like, I know. We probably know his name because we have to add him to the sheet and remove him from the sheet. He just signs to a practice squad.
I don't even remember him from preseason though.
He's just a camp body.
yeah, obviously, but they got nothing behind Mason, which is why he was an A grade in my upside chart. Where did you say where do you have him ranked right now?
RB13, but
yeah.
I might even be too low because really passed the eye test, and he could enter that Tony Pollard, Jonathan Taylor snap range real quick because the Kevin O'Connell is just. I mean, it's gonna be Carson Wentz. Like Kevin O'Connell's got to give the ball to Mason 40 times. Please.
I have him RB12, and I was gonna say right there with you where it might be too low. Like I would not be shocked if he gets like 28 carries and 3 catches, and Scott's in there to pass block or something. Like it could. And we already saw Mason do this with the Niners last year. Like he's more than capable of handling a full workload, but it just might be the Mason show here against the Bengals. And the Bengals have Browning; they don't have Joe Burrow, so the Vikings will probably go in with a very, very conservative run-heavy approach. And I think we're both probably too low on Mason right now. And by the end of the week, who knows? He could be inside of our top 8, but just has a massive floor-ceiling combo this week.
Yeah, he's like, remember those magical weeks where Alexander Madison was putting up like RB1 numbers when Dalvin Cook would get hurt? It's like that, except Jordan Mason's actually good at football.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if Alexander Madison was in retrospect, but we do know, like, this offense definitely needs to get right. And after the way the Jaguars ran on Cincy, I think Mason will have some ops. But Scott, I wouldn't be surprised if Scott actually gets like a designed screen, kind of like almost like a Tootin, but only on like 3 snaps from scrimmage.
Yeah,
just because like they like him in the pass game as a receiver. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him. Like I might, if his anytime touchdown odds are long enough, I might dabble. But I think Mason's probably gonna be one of the favorites this week. So see how that goes.
For sure.
Yeah. Speaking of favorites, man, mentioned the tough start for rookies. I know you're low on one of them this week.
Yeah, Travion Henderson. He's all the way down to RB38 for me. They had mentioned they wanted to shake up the running back rotation. So I thought, that was good news for Henderson. I thought the prop to take his over on was longest rush. They were floating 10.5. One of the many rakes I have stepped on to start the year. I mean, just unbelievable. Like some of these I'll get lucky on. But man, I didn't know it was going to be Antonio Gibson being the one that was going to see the huge increase. I mean, in hindsight, it's not that much of a surprise. This is kind of a volatile backfield. Gibson was great last year. I wasn't putting him off, to be left for dead. I thought he was going to make some noise, but they're still gatekeeping Henderson for now. And even Vrabel had mentioned that deep pass to Mondre that he was wide open for that game was actually designed for Henderson. They ran that play for Henderson in practice, and then it just so happened that Mondre was in that package, so they just ran it to him. So fantasy owners that have Henderson are just livid right now. You should be. He still has massive, massive upside. He's really done nothing wrong so far, so I think you got to just kind of leave him on your bench for now. Only play him if you're in a pinch. He still might make a big play or two in this limited role. But long term, it would not shock me at some point if he's, leading this backfield. So you got to hold on to him. You can't be, dropping him or trading away for pennies on the dollar. So I still like him long term, but my God, right now he's off my radar. RB38. And the other guy I'm low on is my guy, David Montgomery, all the way down to RB33 this week against the Ravens. And this is after we saw, the Lions bounce back at home last week in a big way. They scored 50-plus points. Monty had a decent game, 11 carries, 57 yards and a touchdown. But they're right back in a less than ideal spot for Monty specifically. They're going to be on the road, outdoors, against the Ravens, so likely a trailing game script or at least a closer one where they can't lean on Monty as much. So this is just, brutal spot for him. These are kind of the weeks that you were saying he's going to have a lower floor this year. And that's the case, my model, RB33 to start the week. And, there's going to be some times you bench him. This is probably the week. And then, we'll go right back to using him as like an RB2 flex option in better matchups. But down on Monty this week as well.
Yeah, the Lions have too many playmakers too. Like they got to get to Slaw more involved. J-Mo's great, so yeah, just a lot of mouths to feed and a tougher schedule. So I agree on Monty. For me, I was gonna go with Jerome Ford, but it looks like he's falling down a little bit. So I'll say Tyrone Tracy because he looks like he got jumped by Cam Scatterboo. I thought it would take a little longer, but in that second half against the Cowboys, Scatterboo really was taking a majority of the snaps, and it was an ugly three-way committee for most of the year, and still kind of is. But I do think that Tracy kind of lost his shot at running away with the feature back role, and just another one of these younger running backs that hasn't kind of grabbed the bull by the horns early on. So Tracy's a guy that, you can't start him anymore. Scatterboo could be kind of a fringe start. I'd still rather go with a guy like Tootin over him, but because he might need goal line work to pay off. But Tyrone Tracy, you just don't know what you're going to get out of him now. It's like, is he going to be the pass down back? It's probably not going to be the goal line back. It just could be a lot of empty production for him. And I was about to go with Pacheco because he's doing exactly what I thought he would, but the Giants have been just abysmal against the run. So I'll hold off on, I'll give Pacheco another week to get right and see what happens. All right. Running back prop. I think I know where I'm going with this one. Let me pull it
I thought it was me for a second, so I was scrambling to find one. I came up with Marion Hampton rushing yards. Could you imagine betting on that right now?
Yeah, somewhere Gus Edwards is like, or Kamani Vidal, like, shit, I could have done this shit.
Did you see they graded that fumble on Herbert?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like, I'm not saying they shouldn't have, but like when you watched it live, the announcer said Hampton fumbled it. Everybody online is saying Hampton fumbled it, but on the box score, it was Justin Herbert. And a few people sent me their matchup where they lost because of it. Someone had Herbert and their opponent had Hampton, and it flipped 4 points in theory based on that. So just wild stuff in the fantasy football community.
I almost wish there was a way to score that like a fumble on a sack or rush for a quarterback.
Yeah.
But if it's a handoff, there should be a way to half point it at least. Like you just give equal credit.
Like a half a sack.
Yeah.
Like a half a sack. Yeah.
Yeah. Have somebody or AI just kind of or somebody on staff just kind of grading those as they happen. He's in New York, just half fumbling it. But no, I gotta go with Blake Corum here because I know this is your guy. I know you've been waiting for him to kind of take over the backfield.
Yes.
But I also know never to fully trust Sean McVay with running back. So I don't know what to do with Corum because I thought he looked really good. But is this going to be the week he finally, starts getting consistent, 40% plus usage, or does he go back down? I'm going to set his rushing yardage line at 24.5.
Ooh, yeah. So I wish that was the case, that he would just overtake Kyron. I have given all hope of that, especially after the contract. But that's a great line. I think he's going to push to get more work. Let me see what I have real quick.
That's basically
What'd you say again?
24.5. 24.5.
24.5.
He might need 7 or 8, but definitely kind of a 6 for 24. Or is he going to be?
I have him
use more or less.
Okay, so that's a great prop. I have him at 23. I only have him at 5 carries. But since I'm a believer in Corum's raw talent, I'm going to take over. So I need him to pop on at least one of those 5 carries. So I believe in you, Blake. I believe in you. I'm going to take your over. So, but I do not think he's going to leapfrog Kyron anytime soon. And I don't want to sound, I'm not rooting for Kyron to get hurt. I'm just saying if Kyron goes down, Blake will be an RB1, and most running backs miss 2 to 3 games in a season. Kyron has yet to miss a game since Blake has been there. So that's all I'm going to say. And I think for now, I'm only projecting Blake for like 5-6 carries. Not going to get too excited. But those goal line carries, if he does start getting those goal line carries, watch out. Then he could really offer some RB3 flex standalone value. But great prop, as always. I'm right there with you, but I have to bet on my boy here. Give me the over.
I figured you would, and I will say this. When the Rams traded Cody Schrader, like, you think I'm joking, but like...
No, you're not joking. You're Mr. Inactive Fringe guy.
Oh man,
so
it's my thing, yeah. Like that was what kind of set everything in motion. Like, okay, Sean McVay finally trusts... It was either he trusts Corum or Jarquez was going to start getting like snaps and be like Ronnie Rivers throwing inside.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's Corum, and he went good. And Kyron's just been, I won't want to say 4 yards in a cloud of dust because that's not a cloud of dust, but very consistent, like not explosiveness.
Not explosiveness at all. No, that was horrible watching his prop. Never doing that again. Do not recommend. But we almost had Blake Corum and Zach Charbonnet do well.
Oh man! Don't
in a week where Kenneth Walker the third and
19.
Unfortunately, Charbonnet did his best Kyron impression, I guess. So it was Kenneth Walker week, but I digress. Like high on both long term, but not a great week for us Charbonnet owners.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it's just like the usage was there, but yeah, he just turned into what Kenneth Walker had been statistically as a runner over in some spots. But yeah, just kind of high variance guys. I'm sure they'll all bounce back, but we'll get into wide receiver in a second. Just want to remind you to get the most out of the Action Network app. You want to be an Action Pro subscriber. Only Pro subscribers can get real-time pick alerts from experts like Sean Kerner, Stuckey, Nick Giffen, Jill Gallant, and the entire Action Network team. Maybe next time I try to bet a plus 2,800 touchdown, you'll get that alert. So that's the reason to sign up, and you can access our pro projections powered by Kerner and our whole predictive analytics team, which is very, very sharp. So just go to actionnetwork.com, use promo code POD20, that's POD20, and you get $20 off the annual price. Do not miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 for $20 off a year of Action Pro. Sean, wide receiver top 5. It's kind of the same guys, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel as confident like in the order this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been kind of boring the first 2 weeks with all, top 5s. I think this week is pretty spicy at wide receiver, not going to lie. Number 1 for me, it's already spicy. Number 1, I'm going there. Puka Nacua. He might be the Rams' RB1. Did you see that run? He's a monster. This guy keeps getting better. I don't know. How is it even possible, Raybon? How can he get better? Maybe if he scores touchdowns, that would really blow the lid off his ceiling. He just doesn't score touchdowns. But wide receiver 1 for me. Then I got CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, who has a new quarterback now, Malik Neighbors, and JSN is now a top 5 wide receiver. And I have Jamar Chase just outside wide receiver 6. Just a absolutely chaotic week at wide receiver up top, in my opinion.
Damn, you're not feeling this Browning guy. Like Chase Chase went off with Browning.
Yeah,
fourth quarter.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, Chase's value is still stable. And once again, it's Tuesday morning. We can't judge each other based on our initial ranks. I'm sure I'll go up on him, but losing Burrow is, a massive hit to like touchdown upside at least. And how can you take anything away from like Neighbors or JSN, who JSN, I was mentioning to lead the league in receptions at 20-1 was a good bet. He might be on his way at this point. So just a lot of good options. There's nothing against Jamar Chase, and he'll probably end up in my top 5 by the end of the week. Not going to lie, but thought it was very interesting seeing him 6 and all the guys in the top 5. I can't argue against him. So that's my top 6 to open the week.
Yeah. I hear you. I got Chase number 1 still. I still trust him
Yeah.
a little more than Jefferson, just because of what's going on with the Vikings offense. I mean, he's been the one standing on the. They've been doing the slow mo of him just going, pouting, and that's never good when that happens. But like Carson Wentz could be worse than McCarthy. Whereas I do think Browning can. We've seen 7 games and a little more confidence in him. So that's why I still have him. Then I have Lamb because I expect a shootout there. Jefferson 3rd, Nakua 4th. I do want to be a little bit careful because it's the Eagles. I still respect their back and secondary. Not as good as last year, obviously, with just the exodus of talent and all that. But Devontae Adams is still there, so going 4 with him, and then Neighbors rounding out the top 5. Another guy, I don't feel as great about him this week as I did last week, just because the Chiefs, they gave up 1 play in the pass game last week. I know that was, Herbert lit him up, but you never know what you're getting with Russ, right? Are we getting 500-yard Russ or 100-yard Russ? I don't know. So, he's down to 5 for me, but this is the top 5. I never know the order. I'm not as confident. Last year it was just Chase, Jefferson, and then you kind of went from there. But should be interesting to see how it goes. Who you high on?
My guy, Rome Odunze, wide receiver 11, baby, against the Cowboys this week. 7 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Lions. Kind of the game I've been waiting for 2 years now from this guy. Seems to be the only thing working in this offense is Rome. And he and Caleb, just some of those passes, that arm angle on that second touchdown was absolutely insane. There was also a play where Caleb rolled out, one of those chaotic Caleb plays, and he just chucked it downfield to Rome. He had 4 Lions on him, and it hit his hands. Did you see that play? Those are play. Rome doesn't matter. If Caleb throws a pick or has a disastrous play, that doesn't impact Rome at all. But Caleb is just forcing the ball to him. He's clearly the centerpiece of this offense right now. So with a matchup here at home against the Cowboys, who've been torched by opposing wide receivers so far, I'm high as ever in my model. So he's all the way up to wide receiver 11 for me. And then just real quickly, a guy that you already hit on the waiver pod, I agree with 110%, and that's Windale Robinson. He's my wide receiver 37. Just, continues to draw a shit ton of targets. Starting to see some downfield targets too. I know you mentioned that, but that's excellent with Russell Wilson there. So kind of gives him a high floor ceiling combo we haven't seen quite yet. And this is a matchup against the Chiefs where they should be pass heavy throughout the game. And Darius Slayton, potentially the cardio king next week. We'll see, but he's just running, clearing out things for, Neighbors and Wandale. So just love the setup for Wandale right now. So he's a wide receiver 37, very high floor wide receiver 3 flex type option.
So Wandale last year, targets of 20 yards or more, 5 all year, 1 catch. This year through 2 games, he has 4 and 3 catches. So he's one off his entire year total from last year. And he already has triple the amount of catches. He has a $1.7 and a tutty on such throws. That's just perfect because he's getting that number 2 guy every week.
8 catches. Usually a line for him would be 8 catches, 30 yards, and no touchdowns. This week it was 8 catches, 142 yards, and a touchdown. This is a brand new receiver. And I used to attack his longest reception prop is always 15 and a half. Just because he gets so many catches. Sometimes you'll slip one for a lot, but not him. He was always under. Do not attack that market anymore. He is just running routes all around the field. And just, I think still just under the radar. I don't see enough people kind of talking about him, but he's really become, one of the solid wide receiver 3 options out there.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to use him everywhere on the field because he's fast and he can get open. Slayton is like you said, more of a cardio king, a little stiffer, going to kind of have to run a lot of those sideline routes. When you have a receiver like that, you can't use him in as many spots just in terms of the route combinations. So, Wandale, kind of the best of both worlds right now. It's like that year, what was it, last year when the Falcons just used Ray McCloud on 90% of routes, because confidence was, you couldn't give them anything for whatever reason. Yeah, it's this is Wandale on the Giants. just popping right now, even though he's more of like that
Probably
Demario Douglas archetype.
Yeah. Demario Douglas. I was gonna say he's probably what they wanted. I already forgot it. Kadarius Toney to be.
Jamin Hyatt, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Woo!
But yeah, Wan'Dale is a second-round pick for a reason. Very talented wide receiver.
I'm high on Jameson Williams. He is this is the kind of matchup for him. The Lions are going against a Baltimore team that may be the highest scoring team in the league when it's all said and done. If it's not the Lions or it's not maybe the Buffalo Bills. So it's not often that the Lions have been in these type of matchups. But this year, we talked about it, their schedule's a lot harder and they're forced to throw a lot more. And J-Mo's not always going to be a high volume guy, but the Lions are still efficient enough that he usually pops at least once every 4 targets, 4 or 5. And this is one of those games where Jared Goff, I know it's outdoors and late, but he could throw more than he throws or more than he's thrown in almost every game over the past, I want to say, season and a half. I mean, this totals up at 51. The Lions are 6-point dogs. So this is just this is not a spot the Lions are usually in. So love J-Mo. And there's a lot of other kind of, guys that just could be in game scripts. Because with wide receivers, game script can be an issue. Drake London now, is he still going to be as consistent now that the Falcons defense is better? Marvin Harrison, what's going on with him? Vlad McConkey has more challengers. DK Metcalf, where's he? There's just a weird kind of mid tier. We kind of talked about that frozen pond tier, and it's already kind of popping up here. So yeah, I feel more confident in a guy like J-Mo than I do with some of these other guys. All right, who are you low on wide receiver?
Yeah, I'm low on our guy Travis Hunter, wide receiver 51 to open the week against the Texans, but he saw a slight downtick in offensive snaps. Granted, the week I go in on his receiving prop over. I actually broke even this week, everybody. I didn't have that bad of a week, but he's still only using 3 wide receiver sets, and he even played in fewer this week because Jarian Jones of the defense, he left the game with a back injury, so it's almost like they had to use Hunter more at corner because of that. So it did take away from his offensive snaps. So that's kind of the first time I saw, the potential of, the fact that he plays defense ate away at his potential upside as a wide receiver. But, at the same time, Brian Thomas Jr. is dealing with some serious yips and apparently he has a wrist injury. So we got to kind of monitor that. If he's out or they think that they need Hunter to play more offense, that'll change my projection for him. But he's just been a fascinating player to project these first few weeks now. And this week, I'm on the sit him side of things, wide receiver 51. Really curious to hear where you have him ranked and kind of what you're thinking projecting him this week, though.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in the 40s for me because the one thing kind of holding me back from being down on him is that, like you said, the other Jags receivers have been having their own issues. So I think, now it's week 3. It's not going to, the cornerback depth is not going to kind of take Cohen by surprise. So they can kind of make other arrangements. But I just think they need to work Hunter in more in the red zone and down, more down the field because it's just been kind of a comedy of errors. I think everyone's frustrated. It hasn't been bad for the Jaguars, but they should absolutely be 2-0. But they just miss so many opportunities. And we've seen this out of Lawrence in the past. But we do see, the opportunities are there this year. The play calling is a lot better. Guys are just dropping balls or Lawrence is missing them. And so we saw Parker Washington get 6 catches, 6 targets, 12 routes. Hunter is a guy that absolutely can do something similar. So that's why, if he's getting 37 at receiver or 40 something at receiver and 30 at corner even.
Yeah.
I'm still fine with that. So 28, 40 snaps. But yeah, I think that's more than enough if Washington can get 6 and 12. So yeah, I don't want to be totally down on him. I just don't think he goes too much longer without a blow up. So yeah, it's frustrating because this is why I hate week 2. because after week 2 because it's
Week
like you have
3,
2 weeks.
yeah.
It's like bad, and it's like
Yeah.
that's not enough data. So yeah, I'm gonna still hold out hope. This is a guy that after all like number 2 pick. But yeah, rookies. Some of these rookies getting off to slow start. Not everyone can be a Mecca Ibuka, I guess.
Exactly.
Anyone else you are low on?
Yeah. Just real quick, Cortland Sutton for me, just coming off a one catch, 6-game dud. I mean, obviously, bad game for him. Not concerned about him long term, but his snap rate was down 77% routes run rate. It was Franklin led the wide receiver group with a 90% routes run rate. Sutton, his appeal was his high floor. He was the only stable part of this offense. So if he's getting mixed up with Sean Payton's, weekly mix-up, that's not good for his floor. His high floor seems to be compromised at the moment. Not saying drop Sutton or even bench him, but he is my wide receiver 35 this week. So he's probably going to be involved in more sit-start questions than people probably liked heading in the season. I think it'll stabilize going forward, but just this week, we have to be careful. Like you said, it's week 3. We can't really underreact on the small sample, but it is a small sample. But just something I noticed. And for someone who relies on a high floor, that could be a concern for him. A little bit lower than usual with him opening up the week at wide receiver 35.
Yeah, this is why I hate week 3. It's so challenging because, and especially with Sean Payton, because just like seeing that Sutton had that game, they might just plan to feature a different receiver every week. I mean, because remember they drafted Pat Bryant. What was that, round day 2? And he hasn't even really done anything either. So I mean, and then Evan Ingram, where is he? Like, you're gonna get an Ingram game at some point, a Sutton game, a Bryant game, a Harvey game. So yeah, the Broncos are really frustrating. I don't want to move off Sutton yet, but yeah, you can't have him. No one might be consistent on the Broncos, and that's kind of what we alluded to. And even in Bo, I mean, at least Bo Nix, he's just kind of making mistakes, but he runs and he throws, and it's kind of like a little Caleb in him there. So I'm kind of wait and see on him too, but I don't want to overreact either. One guy I am low on, and this is more of just like he has been playing decently well, but Jacoby Myers, he's a guy that I think he's going to kind of be the odd man out. He might have realized as much, which is why he demanded a trade, and they didn't grant it. And then Cooper came, but then Cooper retired. Everything was weird, but Washington plays a very high rate of man coverage, and Myers is more of their zone guy because they got a bunch of underneath guys though that I think they should be kind of getting the ball to more, like Bowers, Michael Mayer probably should be more involved, and then Genty still hasn't gotten going, and then you got the rookie Thornton down the field, just Tucker. So like there's just so many options. I don't think Myers is getting 11 targets every week, and he has been the guy to kind of take a step back against man coverage looks. And that Washington has been really the only team playing it at a pretty highly consistent rate. Most teams are going to be playing zone like 2/3 or more of the time, whereas Washington is man coverage over 50% through 2 weeks per FTN. So if that continues, it might not continue to that level, but that's usually that seems to be what they want to do. I just think after that 19 play, 62-yard field goal drive, I think they're going to try to be more aggressive, and I think Myers would kind of be the odd man out, and he needs high volume to really kind of pay off. He's not going to be like an 80-yard catch guy, or he was a red zone guy at one point, but I don't think he's going to be that with Bowers and Thornton and Mayer and Genty on this squad. So yeah, it just kind of could be a lot of empty usage, even if he does get it for Jacoby. Was that whose prop is this? Is that you or me?
Me, yeah.
Okay, what you got?
I'm gonna go with our guy Brian Thomas Jr. Again, dealing with the yips. I saw in preseason Lawrence threw him a hospital ball, and anytime he's getting a target over the middle, you can kind of see he's like he can't trust Lawrence right now. Bad vibes in Jacksonville. Let's just put it that way. So, one of the toughest week 3 props, in my opinion, Raybon. What are we doing here? I'm going to set it at 64.5. See what you say.
Oh, it's tough too because Houston is good. You would think,
Should
but
be.
they've been bad statistically. But it's 2 games.
It's week 3.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I
I forgot about that element, but yeah, just the Buccaneers just drove the field. I don't know how the game ended up being that close, but yeah, the Texans defense did not look great. But again, how do we take anything away from 2 weeks?
mean, see, I don't think the vibes are bad in Jackson, right? I think the vibes over that last stretch are bad. But I think overall, like the team, they're doing what they needed to do. It's just like there's clearly something there. So it's just tough. And then it's like, you think Stingley is hurt? Because remember he went down in week 1 and he was like writhing in pain. Because
something's up with him.
Hit or miss, right? Yeah. I'm gonna go over. Yeah.
Okay.
Go over.
I hope you're right. I honestly hope this is something I lose because I do not want BTJ to become some joke. But yeah, see what I'm saying? This is a tough projection right now.
Yeah, that's why I like. It's usually you're not gonna. So he went 1. What was it? 1 catch on 7. 1 catch on 7 targets in week 1, and then in week 2, he goes 4 on 12. So he's now 5 for 19 in terms of catches to targets. That is what a catch rate of, what is that, like 26%?
28? 28.
26.3. 26. Yeah, it's terrible. So
yeah, and they look bad. Like he's dropping them and like he's alligator arming it. Now I'll try to find you the play I'm talking about from preseason. You'll see he just gets blasted over the middle, and that's my theory right now is he's just kind of worried about that and doesn't trust Lawrence to not set him up like that again.
Yeah, Lawrence might just be the guy with the bad vibes that's holding everything back because then again, I mean, the receivers didn't do him any favors, but I trust Liam Cohen. I trust Thomas's talent, and I just feel like with it going as bad as it has, I feel like Hunter and Thomas both just have to be in tandem huge parts of the game plan because that's really, I think they're going to be kind of complementary. Like, you have to focus in on Thomas. You got Hunter. If you have to focus in on Hunter, it's like pick your poison. They have to get that threat going. They have the running back tandem. It looks like Strange is playing well. And, even Diami Brown's still catching touchdowns, even though he's missing some of them too. So I really think that, you're going to see a concerted effort this week. And something's up with Houston. Last year it was like Stroud. And this year it's maybe Stroud a little bit, but it's more so just like the play calling is weird. The defense now is weird. Like everything it's just weird.
This is the bad vibes bowl, in my opinion. Whoever loses this game is just done for. You didn't see the Liam Cohen leaked post game, talking to his players.
I saw something about it, but I didn't really.
It's not that big of a deal. It just sounds more like a thing you kind of tell your peewee team after a game, just saying they got their butts kicked, and everyone's faces is just kind of like, is this guy for real right now? But we've seen this happen where coaches are weird and things are fine in the next few weeks, but just and Lawrence kind of just telling him off. It's just bad vibes. But yeah, hopefully they turn around this week. This is a game. Both these teams need to win this game, so going to be fascinating. But I'm very worried. I'm very worried about Brian Thomas Jr. specifically. Just mentally, it's been a rough 2 weeks for him.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Lawrence may be more of the problem than we think. Like he's just such an enigma because he's not like a. Maybe that's the issue. Like like he even said it. Like I don't have as much fire in Cohen. I liked him yelling at me because it kind of brought it out of me, and so maybe he's really the guy, and it's not actually that. Yeah. But I'm gonna trust the talent. It's weak. If it
Yeah,
like we've seen this so many times before with like these receivers where we get worried and it's like, whoa, but he got 11 targets last week though, so it's like, it's tough.
He's still a beast.
All right, let's finish it off. Tight ends, top 5.
Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren, Travis Kelce, and Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, man. I got McBride, Bowers, Kraft, Kelsey, Warren. The only
Nice.
thing holding Warren back at this point is he's you got Taylor, you got Jones, and then Alec Pierce looms, and he's not a great
Yeah.
touchdown bat, and then Kelsey's just giving him away out there. So Tucker Kraft seems to be the guy. Just he can pop explosives and he can get into the end zone.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. I don't know how long. It probably lasts now that Reed is out too, right? Tucker Kraft's been so good.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Oh, and Jake Ferguson just missed at tight end 6. Like, where the hell did he come from? I'm high on him as well, but chaos at tight end as always.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the Cowboys, we expect to have another shootout against the Bears, so but it's everyone had so many yards in that game. Like the Giants, now they go play the Chiefs, and the Eagles had 100 yards passing. So it's one of those. That's why I hate.
Week 3.
It's tough, man. But Kraft passes the eye test, so he's the guy I feel confident about. And obviously Warren does as well. And Kelsey looks, I think, athletically a little better, but he's just making more of the mental errors. But they have to continue to go to him in the red zone because they got all these deep. They want to go deep, and they have all these Marquise Browns and Worthies and Thorntons, and Juju's not going to threaten a defense. That's why he's not, still getting 1,000-yard season. So yeah, I think Kelsey will rebound. But man, or does he just go the way of Mark Andrews? I don't know. Who are you high on?
Well, I was all excited, Raybon, coming on here. I had Kraft in my top 5. I was going to say I was high on him. You're higher than me. You tight end 3. I'm jealous. Yeah. Tucker Kraft, I might be there with you by the end of the week, if I'm being honest. But Tucker Kraft has been just a beast in the red zone after the catch throughout his career. He just hadn't been seeing the target rate you'd kind of want to see from a stud tight end. So, heading into the season, the Packers coaches kind of made a plan to get him more involved, and they have, held true to that so far through the first 2 weeks, where he's seen a 20% plus target rate in each game. And that play design by LaFleur on that long catch and run was phenomenal. So they're actively scheming Tucker Kraft to get open right now. And he's already really good after the catch and already a red zone monster. So yeah, top 5 for me and potentially top 3 by the end of the week.
Yeah, you could just see that's what they must be seeing in practice. They got all these wide receivers, but Tucker Kraft still kind of stands out as their most explosive weapon. I know, love Golden, but they're just kind of near misses. But Tucker Kraft, you can just throw it to him 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and he just does the rest. He's just a monster. So, yeah, I think it continues. I am high on Harold Fannin Jr. I think that this is a good spot for him, even though it's a really tough matchup. Fannin Jr. probably not the best week for an anytime touchdown, but he's getting so much volume right off the bat and that combined with the Njoku trade rumors make me think that this guy Fannin just thoroughly outplayed him in practice, and we're kind of seeing that on the field. Fannin's just getting open more, and the Packers have one of the highest rate zone coverage defenses, and no surprise they've been controlling games, so they kind of allowed themselves that opportunity. But that is going to benefit a guy like Fannin because he, again, is more spry than Njoku, who, more physical guy, maybe in the red zone. But the Browns may not be getting in the red zone as much, just with all they got going on in the line, and now they're up against the Packers. So I think that this is a good Fannin game. Tillman, not a great receiver against zone. I know he got the lucky touchdown, and then Judy, talk about bad vibes. He's dropping passes, and you just don't know what you're going to get out of him. And then they're going a lot of running back targets as well. Two of their 3 running backs are kind of pass catching types. So I think, but Fannin still leading the way here. So you don't usually see when we saw a rookie start like this, it was Kyle Pitts rookie year or a Laporta type season. So I'm not ruling that out yet for Fannin. I don't want to, just because it's I don't want to make the same mistake we made with Bowers last year, where it's oh, well, Mayer's there, so can he ever fully reach his ceiling? Yes. Harold Fannin's already catching, 5+ balls in his first 2 games. I think the ceiling is pointing up. The arrow's pointing up on the ceiling.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you real quick. Obviously I think Fannin has massive upside, especially if Njoku gets traded long term. But long term, we might see Flacco get benched for probably Dylan Gabriel at this point. Do you think that would help, hurt neither Fannin's value with or without Njoku?
I think it would probably just remain the same because Flacco has a way of throwing like 48 passes every game. And so like he's good in that sense that it's just like, like he's either like he'll throw a deep pass, but that's quick, or he'll get pick sixed, or he'll just do a ton of dump off. So like either way, that's good for Fannin. But I think if Gabriel comes in, it will probably mean the Browns are just kind of in that true, we got to see what we got in our young guys mode. And that's when you probably will likely see Fannin overtake Njoku if he hasn't already, or maybe that's when you'll see the trade. So either way, I think like the fact that Fannin has come out of the gate like this, and we're talking about other guys who haven't. Henderson, Harvey, Bill was quiet last week for the most part. A lot of these, Caleb Johnson, a lot of these rookies struggling, but 7 catches in week 1, 5 in week 2, and this is tight ends you're talking about here. You just don't see that very often. So I think you gotta just take a shot here because tight end, so much upside. I mean, we don't know who the hell to rank like 6 half the time at tight end. So I'm bullish on Mr. Fannin Jr. Who are you not bullish on going for this week?
Well, here we go again. Mark Andrews for me. Another brutal start to the season for him. 1 catch for 5 yards, and then last week 1 catch for 2 yards. And this is with Isaiah likely out. So that's really bad. And likely could be back as soon as this week. So how the hell can you rank? How can you be playing Andrews in fantasy? He's all the way down to tight end 20 for me. Having said that, we've seen this time and time again. This means he's going 3 catches, 29 yards, and 2 touchdowns this week. Book it. But I can't project that. So he's tight end 20 for me. Just his floor is so low. He's a touchdown or bust right now. But with likely potentially coming back, it's tough to trust him, especially if he's not scoring the touchdowns. So we saw this last year where he got off to a slow start, ended up having, a great season, but I don't know. It just seems like the writing's on the wall with him. And I think likely is just going to be more involved this year, potentially when he does return. So low on Mark Andrews heading into the infamous week 3 projections.
Yeah. And with Andrews, I will say, I think it's a little bit more concerning than a guy like Brian Thomas, who, or even like AJ Brown for that matter. You could just get we know these guys are just monsters. Whereas with Andrews, you don't quite know. And it's some of these tight ends, they're slot receivers, right? So the run game has become more and more important in the league. After everyone went all, defenses are trying to go in too high shell, trying to protect against the explosive pass. You have to kind of go back to the run game and kind of play off that. And Andrew's just not really always going to be relied on as a run blocker over some of the other guys on the roster, like Ricard and Kolar and Mitchell Patton. And there's just so many other guys. So I think sometimes and then Lamar is so good that he can hit it. Devontae Walker ran 5 routes, scored 2 touchdowns last. This is how good Lamar Jackson is. And then Lamar Jackson's also so good that if that drop in the playoffs lost his trust, we would probably never know it because Lamar is just that professional. He would never. He'll get mad at little ticky himself doing dumb shit on the field, but he doesn't really show it as much with when other guys make mistakes. So we don't know. And then I know Andrews has some medical conditions as well. I think something that he kind of struggles with and kind of come and go. So there's a lot of variables, and he's getting older too. So yeah, I don't know what to do with him, but don't feel great about it because even last year he had that. The red flag was that guys who were reliant on touchdowns, and the tight end touchdown rate still going down. They're not using them in the red zone as much because 1-1 is like a viable red zone personnel now. So tight end touchdown rates around 6.5% per catch now. Used to be in the like high 7s or 8s. So yeah, I'm worried about Andrews, but that's maybe they're just bubble wrapping him. Long season to go. Ravens trying to get to the promised land. All right, I mean you know who I'm on. Evan Ingram, tight end 15 ECR. Are we
kicking a man when he's still down? Are you kidding me?
Man, listen, like I said, I wholly admit that Evan Ingram is probably going to have a 10-catch, 99-yard, 2-touchdown game at some point this season. I just don't know if it's going to be week 3 or week 10 or week 17 or he's going
whatever week I take under 3.5 receptions. It'll be that week.
Yeah, just if you sign up for the action app, use code POD20 and you get Sean's alert.
Yep.
You see that and then you go. But
boom.
In all seriousness, this guy's playing like half the snaps or less. And didn't Troutman get in the end zone last week too? Of course.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And didn't we call that? Didn't we call? He would outscore. I don't know if we said that, but Adam Troutman is going to be a thorn in Evan Ingram's side all season.
Yeah, Sean Payton having a rocky season. Are Payton and Tomlin going to be the new Belichick's pretty soon? Like so well respected, but like I mean Tomlin with a guy just making that gaff that Johnson did, and then like this is just like Payton's just been making bad decisions all year. So I don't know what's going on there, but Evan Ingram is playing, he's like a 50% route guy. And that is, and talked about this prior to the season, but never really been a touchdown guy. So what are we banking on with Ingram? Is it that 58-yard preseason catch? Because there's like 8 players on the Broncos that can make 57-yard catches these days. So yeah, I don't know what to do with Ingram. It's frustrating, but another guy I would just drop. You have to go be aggressive at tight end. Fannin all day over Ingram. Brenton Strange over Ingram. Oh, yeah. Heck, I would even buy low on Loveland because he has nowhere to go but up, right? And we're starting to see Cole Kmet, same pattern. So maybe even Arroyo in Seattle, like somebody. Like you gotta move on from these guys and try to get a top 12, top 10, top 12 guy. I just do not think Ingram's going to be close. At the snap rate he's going at. So yeah. And he's another guy not really trusted or great at run blocking, and that creates a problem. It's not like with the running backs and if they just block third down snaps, whatever, get him, don't get him, doesn't really matter. But like tight ends, you got to be able to stay on the field because teams are kind of building some of their pass concepts off run fakes and RPOs and things like that. So yeah, all the way out on EE. Whew, man, a lot of tight ends this week. Yeah,
really curious to hear. I mean, you have so many options to go here.
Yeah, there's a few I was considering. I'm now trying to there's like even more options. Because Andrews was my original guy, and then it's like, all right, we talked about him, but I kind of let's see. Maybe I'll build. Yeah, let's do like Andrews plus Ingram. That'll be fun. Okay. Mark Andrews plus Evan Ingram receiving yards.
Okay, yards. Okay, this is going to be fun.
I know. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure. Okay, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to do. Okay. Brock Bowers. Or Andrews plus Ingram.
So. Yeah, I was afraid you were gonna do that. I kind of saw what you were like. I have Andrews and Ingram around 55, and I have Bowers around 57. So you would think, okay, I'll take Bowers, which is probably the logical, probably smart thing to do. But since we're taking 2 wide receivers, we're gonna capture a little bit of the mean a little bit. So if one of them goes off, the total sum might be a little bit higher, whereas Bowers, we're talking about a median. I'm probably getting too mathy here, but I'm going to bank on that kind of phenomenon maybe Dr. Nick can explain it a little bit better than me, but I'm capturing kind of I guess Andrews and Evan Ingram have hidden upside, kind of capturing that a little bit against Bowers. So that's a phenomenal prop. It's super close, but I'm going to take the combo of Andrews and Ingram here.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I totally agree with you. You have like Bowers is one guy, so like injury rate itself, it's like if he gets banged up, his injury rate risk is double essentially. But at the same time, he could get one catch in the first quarter and still win.
Yeah.
So
Like,
we talked about how it wasn't just the wide receivers, like a stud tight end is going to be so valuable. And Bowers, I know he hasn't like fully erupted and hit his stride, but I mean, still averaging 70 yards per game, just like he did last year. So right on schedule, just by a little injury scare. And I think they're gonna have to start going to him more because what the hell is that 19 play field goal drive? I mean, these old coaches, man.
Yeah, no, it's there's so many. Again, it's week 3. Who knows like how this is gonna actually turn out? But you have to imagine Genty starts getting more yards on the ground. Can only get better from here. And then Dante Thornton Jr. might haul in one of those like 50-yard YOLO balls, and that takes away from Bowers' yardage. So it could go either way, but I agree. I think they're going to kind of realize we need to just be going through Bowers more. So it could go either way this week. That's the fun of week 3. But again, there are paths to Bowers not having as many opportunities if some of these other players step up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to end up being like Myers or Tucker or one of those guys. Probably Myers because he kind of expressed that he didn't want to be there. So I just feel like I just think Bowers is too good. Like he's
right.
I mean, he's a monster. So like I'm not worried about him long term, but it's just like people drafted Ingram as like a top 8 tight end, and so it's
Andrews too.
Yeah, and Andrews. So it's like I'm just trying to capture that like. Yep. How confident or how dismayed are you in that? In like still having 2 top 8 tight ends against one?
Very dismayed.
No, you made the right pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But yeah, I'm very dismayed, and both are outside my top 20, and they're combined barely equal Brock Bowers. That's kind of your point, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and he missed time of injuries. So
exactly.
That'll do for our week 3 player projections episode of the Fantasy Flex. Make sure to subscribe to the Fantasy Flex pod so you don't miss an episode all season long. Also, subscribe to the Action Network pod. We'll be back with our anytime touchdown bets on let me say it again. It's Thursday. We're gonna do Thursday, right? Now, yeah. So
yeah.
Uh-oh. It's time to shoot. All right. Also, don't forget that we're doing the touchdown show, myself, Kerner, and Jules Gallant on Thursday over on the Action Network podcast. Had some good hits. Usually do each and every week. And we're going to start doing it. We're going to get Thursday Night Football in there. I was cutting it a little close, so we didn't include it. But we're going to start getting it out. So you guys will have the Thursday game. So you'll be covering every single team on the entire slate. You'll get a anytime touchdown bet from either Kerner, myself, Gallant, or all 3 of us. So be sure to check that out. You can find Sean on X at @_Oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon, and we're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Turn on the pick notifications, and you can see anytime Kerner, myself, anyone you follow, post a bet. Until next week, let's get this money.